Today is Saturday, April 6th, 2024. My name is Ed Tomaszyk, and we're here at the residence of Don Kvill, located at close to the intersection of Highway 2 and Grossmont Road. And we're just here to have a conversation with Don to talk about raising chickens or whatever topics Don thinks might be appropriate. And with that, we can get started.
Okay, the very best way to start raising chickens is to not follow my advice, because that wouldn't work out very well. In my experience, I started with wild turkeys. They were quite good, except they were determined to die. And after the last of them died off, I decided I should try something else. So I got involved in pheasants and quail. And that didn't work out any better, because anything that came past the pen, they would fly up into the netting, break their neck, and fall down, and the harvest was a little premature with them too. So eventually I decided that maybe I'd have to just raise chickens. And every third or fourth year, either a fox or coyote comes in and cleans me out. But to date, we still have 2 pens with about a total of 50 maybe chickens in it, and I've got about another 50 in a brooder right now. And we'll see where they go.
You've been hatching chickens almost every year for how many years now?
Oh, probably 6 or 7.
Yeah. With quite a bit of success too, as near as I can determine.
Yeah, success for the predators.
Yeah. No. And so about what time of the year do you start collecting eggs for hatching?
Usually late March, so that the idea is that you want them to hatch sometime in early to mid-May, April.
Okay. And is there any particular selection process that you go through when you're choosing the eggs that will ultimately end up in the brooder?
Not really, other than I reject anything that has a double yolk, that the double-sized ones or any with a distorted shell, they aren't likely to be viable. So
Yeah.
the other thing too is if the temperature in the coop falls and the eggs are really cold, I won't put them in the brooder, because if they cool down to about 10 degrees Celsius, they're not going to be viable. So it's no use trying to hatch chicks from that.
Yeah. Now, you once mentioned to me that when you put the eggs in the brooder, you make sure that the big end is down or something?
No, the big end has to be up.
Big end has to
And
be
they
up.
get tipped every 15 minutes, 45 degrees one way and 45 degrees the other, so that the air sac doesn't adhere to the shell.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. And when you put them into the brooder, and like you've got the brooder preheated, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
About how long does it take for the eggs to hatch?
21 days.
21 days.
And it's pretty rigid, in that between 19 and a half and 22 is when your hatch is going to be. It's not distributed over very many hours at all.
Yeah. Kind of interesting how nature seems to have a built-in clock to...
If you use hens to brood them, they will lay the eggs and let them cool, and then when they sit on them after the 21 days, they all hatch at the same time.
Yeah. Now, do you have any insight into the success rate that hens have when they're brooding?
I don't have any firm data at all, but my subjective impression is that the hens can do it a lot better than we can. I guess not significantly better, but With eggs under a hen, they'll usually have 6 or 8 eggs under a hen, and there'll be 1 or 2 that won't hatch. And in the brooder, we're looking at usually 30 to 40% that don't hatch. So probably the mechanical way isn't quite as effective as the hen, which isn't surprising, really.
Yeah. And in the years that you have hatched chicks, have you ever snuck any duck eggs into the brooder? And
No, I have hatched ducks, so
you have.
I've had ducks and I've hatched ducks. They are 28 days, not 21 days, and the viability of ducks are much better. If you put in 2 dozen duck eggs, you're likely to get 24 ducklings, and the survival rate of ducklings is much better than chickens.
Yeah, that's interesting. You know, turkeys are at the bottom of the list.
Turkeys are at the bottom. They just live to die. You know,
Yeah.
they don't need any excuse at all.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting how nature prepares little chicks for survival. Seems to me you had mentioned that they seem to know where to go for food and water when after they're taken out of the brooder.
It's actually nothing short of amazing that something that you would have fried up and had for breakfast 3 weeks ago, after they hatch, they're all ready to eat, they're all ready to drink, and they know what's food, they know what's water. I just put them in the brooder and they go find the fountain right away, they find the food right away and get to work. It's just incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. And how long, your best estimate for how long it will take the chicks to feather out?
They're already starting to feather out. They hatched on Thursday, and there's the beginning of feathers already on their wings.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're starting to pelage already.
So about how long when they'll have be
Oh,
completely?
they will be probably 3 weeks to a month before they're fully fledged.
Okay. And about how long before they're considered adult birds?
Oh, by about September, so 4 or 5 months.
Okay. And by then I would imagine the egg producers are going to be...
Start laying about that time, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Now, are there any precautions that you take when you introduce a new batch of chickens into the chicken coop with older chickens there?
I would do it at night rather than at daylight. They do just like any other animals, cattle or anything else. You put new ones in with old ones, and there's going to be a bit of a fighting and pushback. And so if you introduce new chickens into an old pen full of chickens, if you do it at night, they wake up and they aren't so surprised as they might be. There'll still be some interactions. I haven't lost any that way, but with turkeys it's exactly the opposite. I had young turkey poults that were 3/4 grown and put them in with adult turkeys and killed them right away. Killed every one of them.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, now of the batch of chickens that you currently have in the this spring coming out of the brooder, roughly 50% of those will be roosters?
Yeah, about that.
Okay. Any plans for what you're going to be doing with the roosters?
Giving them to whoever would like to have roosters, I guess.
Become fried chicken
They're
eventually?
gonna, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll
So,
be somebody's dinner, I guess.
yeah. Anyway, this has been an experimental video. We'll see how it turns out, and I'll provide you with a copy of it when I get it onto the computer and do a little bit of editing. I am optimistic that it's going to turn out okay, and for that I thank you, and with that we can conclude.